from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whether you eat cereal for breakfast or you don't, or whatever you eat for breakfast, this podcast. It's strange that a sleep podcast would have breakfast cereal come up so much. And there's another podcast, The Empty Bowl, that is like a chill, sleep related. That's also about breakfast cereal. It's pretty cool that breakfast cereal is so prevalent in bedtime and relaxation, chill out, fall asleep podcasts. But I think that's just because it unites us. We love breakfast and breakfast cereals, but you don't have to either. If you loathe breakfast cereals, or you just say, well, I prefer breakfast cereals, no. I don't know. This is petered out already, which is good because it's time for Sleep With Me. It's a different podcast to put you to sleep. It's a sleep podcast we've been making just about 11 years, almost... I don't know, almost 1,200 episodes or 1,300 episodes. I'm not sure. I think we're in the 1,100s. But it's a podcast to put you to sleep and keep you company and take your mind off of stuff, which is a little bit different. I'm here to be your friend and talk to you. This show's a little bit silly. It does take some getting used to. Just heard from somebody who supports the show directly. I think they said it took 4 tries. And now they pay for a free podcast so it can be out there. So give it a few tries, just see how it goes. That's because it's so different than what you may expect. And of course, I mean, I would be skeptical or doubtful about it, the idea of a sleep podcast and stuff like that. So that's the other thing, because your skepticism kind of is like, oh, wait, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, doesn't make any sense. So it's kind of like that. The way the structure of the show, this is your little greeting to welcome you in. Regular listeners, too, welcome. So good to see all your pets out there. And people that don't have pets as well. There's like a pet, whatever. Usually I pander to pets, but now I'm going to pander to people without pets. Hey, people without pets, I'm pandering to you. So, yeah, there you go. The petered out too. Petering out, pandering to people without pets, profusely pandering to people without pets in a podcast. Sleep With Me. So glad you're all here. What we got is the next thing you'll hear is support. That's how the show comes out free twice a week. The people that support those sponsors. If you prefer ad-free experience, check out Sleep With Me Plus. Then we'll have a long, meandering intro that's meant to ease you into bedtime, totally separate from the support. That's about 15 minutes or so. And then later on, we'll have our episodically modular story, Multiplex. Most listeners prefer this version of the show, but if you think you prefer just the stories, you could check out Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me in your podcast app of choice. But just see how this one goes. If you're new, try this one first, then try that one. Or a lot of people listen to both. So I'm glad you're here. I work really hard. You're in a nice drive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. All of you that support the show, thanks again for making this possible. And those of you that check out these sponsors, this is how we come to you twice a week. Thanks. All right, everybody, this is a part of the show where really I'm not here to convince you to Sleep With Me directly on Sleep With Me Plus. I don't need to convince you that part, right? You know that Sleep With Me is a part of your life. If you're a regular listener, you know it makes your life better. It's there when you need it. In the deep, dark night, when things are really tough, it's something you turn to. And when you think about the other services you pay for, are any of those ones you turn to more than Sleep With Me? And do any of those services have thousands of episodes, ad-free, story-only versions, your favorites on locations, fearless flyers, all organized for easy listening? Are any of those services a part of your life, like your boyfriend is? You count on the podcast, and the podcast counts on listener support. And the hardest part of this whole thing
isn't convincing you should pay for a free podcast. It's convincing you, it's getting the message across to you. Hey, could you do it right now? I know you're going to bed. I know it's not the best time. Or could you set an alarm on your phone and set it for whatever, 9 a.m. tomorrow? Go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And when you sign up, you should feel really good about it because you're guaranteeing the consistency of Sleep With Me, that it'll be there on the regular basis when you need it and when other people need it. And that's something our supporters feel really good about. They're a part of something special. And the way the special thing continues is because they're a part of it. And you could be a part of that too. And I know you want to. It's just a matter of like getting over that little hump. That's been the hardest thing about keeping Sleep With Me sustainable over the years. It isn't that people don't want to support the show. It isn't that we don't have enough listeners. It's that we're so effective at putting people to sleep. It makes it tough to keep the show going sometimes. So if you really believe in Sleep With Me, if it's a part of your life, think about supporting it right now. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Oh, Mr. Bart, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Posterson sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget, if you're looking for sleep phones, you can get those at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. And yeah, that's it. I'm really glad you're here. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show?
Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts on your mind, things you're thinking about. Thoughts about the past, the present, the future, thoughts that are just there, thinking thoughts. It could be feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally, or leftover feelings, or where you're tired from feelings, and you've had so many this is just my situation right now, and you're exhausted from feelings, but then you can't get, like, your feelings are like, yeah, but not sure about the sleep thing either. It could be physical sensations. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be going through something. You could have something coming up. You could work a different shift or a different schedule. There's a lot of people right now been at a place where everybody works 12 hours. I know people that work 24-hour shifts in my family. Or they're on duty 24 hours. There's a lot of different, however it is, it could be something temporary, or it could be something, mid, long-term, whatever it is. I'm glad you're here. The only reason I run through that stuff is so you get a sense you're not alone. You get a sense maybe this is, and it's different because this is a podcast, but this is a community of people. Most of the people that benefit from this podcast are just a silent community of people out there who need this podcast or enjoy this podcast to get the rest they need. But they do understand that we share something. And it's something that's a little bit vague and hard to describe. But I think I talk about the deep dark night and a little bit of loneliness. And that might not be your exact experience, but I don't know, we share something, right? And that's just the only words I can come up with to describe it. And why is that important? Well, for me, it's important for a couple of reasons. One, during the day, with people that can sleep, they just can't quite relate. So when I tell them about it, or when I was a kid and I told them about it, they'd say, oh yeah, that's too bad. Maybe you should think less. Or can't you think about something nice? And then you'll fall right, just get snuggled in and think about something like, cotton candy, fields of cotton candy. And you should fall right asleep. You gotta think about something. I don't know if nobody's ever called me Bub before, but I think they said, come on, Bub, just think about something nice. And then you'd say, okay, well, I guess I'm on my own with this. It would be my natural reaction, right? Or maybe I'd try that. And I mean, I guess I could see how a person that can sleep good would think the idea of fields of cotton candy would be a good idea for bedtime. But all of us, that you could do a lot of rumination about that. And you say, okay, there's a lot of downsides to this. So that's one reason is like whatever it is that's keeping you awake, I may be able to relate to how it feels. And even if I can't, you say, no, yeah, I don't think you can relate to how it feels for me, or you haven't been through something similar. The thing is, there's enough people listening around the world right now that someone out there really can relate to how you feel, and they know how you feel, and they're nodding right now because maybe they've been through something similar that has kept them awake, or prevented them from falling asleep, or made them wake up early, or made them toss and turn. And I can tell you, they are really glad you are here. Like, they are nodding and sitting up in bed right now and welcoming you in. And they've been listening long enough that they know that if this podcast works for you and helps you out, one day you'll be in the same position they are to welcome in this new listener in this strange digital way that actually works, that is actually real, because you're welcoming in. I don't know. I don't know. It's important, or it's important to me, we'll say. But I have to believe that's one of the things that works about this show. And it's one of the reasons I make the show, because I know how it feels and you know how it feels. And we share that, even if it's a little bit different, and it's kind of shared like one of those chains of paper thing, or the kids holding hands made of paper. I don't know. Maybe that's the this podcast has strange analogies too. The last thing that's important about this and why I make the show is that you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a bedtime where you can get the rest you need so your life is more manageable, where you don't have to dread bedtime, and that it's not a hassle. Like you say, well, at least I got that silly podcast to listen to keep me company. So you deserve a bedtime you can feel neutral about or even look forward to, and a bedtime routine that kind of brings you comfort and reassurance. And I hope I can be a part of that, because if you get the rest you need and your life is more manageable, your life's going to be better. That means our world's going to be better because your world's better. And that is important to me and a lot of other people that are here right now with us. You're important. So I just like to point that out. And the way this show works is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'll use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. So I'll go off topic. I'll get mixed up. I'll forget what else, just like you've seen already. And that's all because my job isn't to get to the point. It's to keep you company. Did I say I use long, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents? I think I did. My voice is not traditionally soothing. This is a podcast that you kind of just barely listen to, and that is a little bit different. It's a podcast I just barely listen to. And I say, yeah, like an out-of-focus picture, or sand running through your hands, or, like music on the breeze, some music on a summer breeze that you can't quite hear, but there's music playing somewhere, and it sounds kind of nice. That's what this podcast is. You can listen to it, but you don't have to listen to it. It's a podcast you just barely listen to, but you could listen. Believe it or not, it's a sleep podcast that doesn't put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep, not to put you to sleep. There is no pressure to fall asleep with this show. I'm here to keep you company and be your friend in the deep, dark night, not to put you to sleep. You can fall asleep whenever you wish. And ideally, you don't even notice when you fall asleep. That's the whole thing that's supposed to work about this show. Because as hard as I tried to fall asleep in the past, it never worked, right? So you don't have to try to fall asleep. Just kick back and listen to your bore friend, your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your bore burr, your bore bee, your neighbor, your bores, your bore bee, best bore friend forever, your bore bruh. Like, that's the reason the shows are over an hour. No pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here to keep you company. There's people who are listening who can't sleep at all, and people who listen during the day because they need a break. So I'm here for you. And that's, I'll be here when you're asleep and when you're awake. And there's over 600 shows ready to go in our ad-supported archive, so you can just listen whenever you want. So those are the important things. The other things that throw people off, I kind of went through this before, and it's a little late to go through it now, but a lot of people don't like the show or me ever, or for a little while when they first get here. And so I do recommend, and this is just from listener feedback over the years, like, give the show a few tries. You got nothing to lose. And if it doesn't, if it doesn't work after a couple nights, or if for some reason you already know you just don't like me. I mean, those people actually support the show, so it's kind of funny. So you could give it a few tries, but if you don't want to, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you has other sleepy podcasts and sleepy stuff set up. So check that stuff out and see if one of those works for you, because it's got other sleep podcasts and other stuff on there you could check out. You still deserve a good night's sleep. You still deserve a bedtime you don't have to dread, even if you loathe me. I've gotten every email in the book over the past 10 years. So, yeah, it's fine. I'm here to put you to sleep if I can and to keep you company if I can. But when the show works for people on the second or third try, they realize, oh, I have been looking for this the whole time. It is kind of like listening to TV in the other room, but it is like talking to a friend, but with no social pressure. It is like this and this. Oh, I have been looking for this. So just see how it goes and go from there, right? Because I really hope I can help you out, or you find something else that helps you fall asleep. So that's one thing. The last thing is a structure of the show. I'm going to run through why we structure the show the way we do and how you could change it up. But at first, give this version a few tries, because this linear ad-supported version is how most people listen, and the feedback you get, what most people prefer. They prefer something free that's ad-supported, and they just listen to it linearly. And a percentage of those people might set a sleep timer for an hour. A smaller percentage of people might set it for 45 minutes. Some people let it run all night. Some people stop it even earlier and listen to an episode over 4 or 5 days. So just kind of see how it goes with that. But that's like how we got to this, is like the structure is it's what has worked for the most number of people. It starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in. You get a sense, oh, this podcast is kind of playful, kind of goofy, and a bit different, but it's friendly. It's trying to welcome me in. Maybe I'll check it out. Then there's the sponsors, so the shows you don't have to pay for it. If you prefer something without ads, Sleep With Me Plus has got you covered. If you're not in a position to support the show financially, our referral program you could find out about. You refer people to free podcasts, and you get free ad-free episodes and ad-free story-only episodes too. But most people like it this way because it's just set it and forget it, I guess. Then after the support is a long, meandering intro. That's meant to ease you into bedtime. It is separate from the support. It's a show within a show. It's about 15 to 20 minutes long. And yeah, I could do the same intro every time. I could say the same thing every time. I could do it in 2 minutes. I personally couldn't because I can't stay on topic. But I could have, I could do 100 takes and then take the shortest take and just run that intro every time. The reason I don't is because, one, that wouldn't be any fun. It would be, I don't know, it'd get boring, right? Even though this podcast is a bit boring. But two, I believe from making the show for a long time that we need something familiar that's different every time. That there's something in that familiarity but variety where whatever's keeping us awake, it can't quite adjust. But if it's too familiar or too repetitive, I'll wake up or I won't be able to fall asleep because I'll start thinking about it. So that's why the intro is different every single time. The reason it's 20 minutes long or so is to ease you into bedtime. It gives you a buffer between the story and getting ready for bed or getting in bed. And you can use the intro. People use it a lot of different ways, right? There are some people who are already asleep. We're so happy for them. There's some people who are in bed getting comfortable. There's some people getting ready for bed, and they can kind of hear me, but, they're brushing their teeth and stuff too. And then there's a lot of people doing a wind down, like whether it's in bed and they're drawing or knitting or paging through something, or they're stretching, or they're doing some relaxing activity, or they're just lying or sitting. To ease you into bedtime. It's just what works for me personally most of the time, and what a lot of studies and stuff say works. So try that out. There are some people that used to skip the intro. Now they listen to bedtime stories from Sleep With Me, but that's what the intro is. Then there's support. Then there'll be our bedtime story, and then there'll be our then there'll be the end of the show. So that's a structured show. So I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. Myself and a team of people work on the show really hard. We yearn and strive. Really hope we can help you fall asleep. And these sponsors and the people who support the show directly are how we're able to do it for you. Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. Have you ever thought about supporting the show directly at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus? Because I don't think I need to convince you of the value of Sleep With Me, right? You probably use Sleep With Me more than almost every other streaming service you pay for, because it's not about the value. Sleep With Me is something you count on, something that's there for you, something you look forward to and feel good about is really like those other things. Oh, this is an important part of my life, this podcast. So if I could just interrupt your sleep for a few minutes, if Sleep With Me is up there, is Sleep With Me, where does it rank with all those other services you pay for? And if it ranks up there and you want to feel really good, you're going to feel really good for the first time paying for something. Sleep With Me Plus is full of cool content, but it's really about how it feels. You already know Sleep With Me is an important part of your life, but when you support it, you're supporting it to be consistently there for you in the future because it's something you can count on. But it's really about being a part of something. A lot of that other stuff is stuff we consume passively. But if you're a regular listener to Sleep With Me, you're a part of something. And if you count on the podcast and it's a part of your life, it's a part of other people's lives too. We're a part of something here. And supporting it is something you could feel really good about because it keeps us going into the future and being here. And the toughest part is not getting the value of Sleep With Me across. It's so valuable. A lot of people are even sleeping during this message. It's getting people to take that deliberate action right now, whether it's to set an alarm or to go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. So set a reminder for tomorrow or write a note and throw it on the floor. Or just do it now, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Sign up. You could set everything up tomorrow, and then we'll, go back to your regular thing. But think about it and sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks.
All right, hey everybody, Scoots here. Welcome to our episodically modular series, Multiplex. Multiplex is a tale of four friends in a shopping mall trying to help the people at the shopping mall get to where they need to go. And if you're new, welcome to Multiplex. It's an episodically modular series with a bit of seriality. But what episodically modular means is you can listen to the episodes in any order. In these episodes, the main character is going to catch you up on the story, so you'll have everything you need to know. And so then you could say, well, this is like the episode that comes after number 12 and before number 14. But you could listen to this one first and then listen to episodes 1 through 12. And I think you'd be fine. You could even listen to them even more out of order. Now, yeah, and if you decide you want to listen to them in order, you could do that. But mostly you'll be kind of barely paying attention. So you could choose how you kind of want to listen. But the episodically modular thing is a thing I learned many, many years ago making this show. That even though the episodes are numbered, don't worry, they're episodically modular. And, I guess all that means, is you listen to them in any order. I'm here, believe it or not. Now, this is interesting for those of you that listen to the show on a regular basis in these episodically modular shows on a regular basis. I'm not here in the climb-in closet. I'm sitting in a twin bed in the guest room of my parents' condo or whatever, split level or half. I guess it's a condo. Well, it's not standalone. It's connected on both other sides to other. I don't know. Yeah, so it's not a split level because it's got a place on each side of it. So let's just call it a condo and be done with it. Because I don't know all those other terms. But even though I'm here in Florida, and probably because of it, because he cares so much, you wouldn't believe it, but coming to you all the way from the greater Los Angeles area, the greatest thing in the greater Los Angeles area, in my opinion, or the greatest thing about the greatest Los Angeles area, when he's there, and if he's not there, I say, well, his what he's left behind is pretty great, but there's a lot of other great things too. But we've got our Hollywood announcer coming to you from Florida, from the border of Pasco and Hernando counties. And you hear this, probably won't be here any longer. And I got so if I missed anybody, I don't really have got a lot going on basically. But that's why Antonio's here too, because he loves me really. And he loves all of you, and he loves sleep. So I don't have anything smarmy to say. He doesn't, except for he doesn't love remaining perfectly still and quiet, so the mic can't pick up anything when he's sitting there still. But actually, I think he does love that. It's our Hollywood announcer, Mr. Antonio Banderas. The friends, the ladies, the gentlemen, the boys, the girls, the friends beyond the binaries, the friends beyond the binaries, the ladies, the gentlemen, the boys, the girls. It's time to be here with my friend Scooter, Drew. To be here with all of you for the love of sleep. It is my distinct pleasure to be here to help you fall asleep and for us all to journey together into the multiplex. Chicka chicka cha, yeah. Wow, that double yeah, man. Thank you for being here, Antonio, and your support, and for your love of sleep and the listeners. Really set an example for me. Thank you so much. All right, hey everybody, my name's Wyatt, and I'm here coming to you recording audios to tell you a tale that's never been told, but it's being told in parts. A tale of myself and my friends, Josie, Santos, and an associate that would become a close friend, Boyd, the corncob kid. And this is a tale of adventure, but there's a reason you haven't heard it before, is because the adventurous tale, well, we didn't find a good reason to share it with anybody. But there is a good reason, because it was a grand adventure that led us someplace quiet on the inside, quiet and stable and full of dignity and without grandness. A great adventure that didn't bring us to a grand place. And I feel like it's easy to confuse that, because the reason I'm telling this story is because I had a very small public access show not long after this adventure, a few years after this adventure, but where I would show autumnally themed movies. And in between the movies and during breaks, I would interview people, including my friends that I met on this adventure, or some of them. And with the digital age here, those public access shows were uploaded, and people saw them and said, wow, that's some movie magic. How did this guy, who are these performers, and how did they get them to look so real? Like, how did they achieve even practical special effects like this? And, that's why I wanted to clear the air with these audios. I don't know when they're getting published or if they're getting published, but none of that was makeup. None of that was acting. All of it was real. And all that's important, not because I was interviewing somebody that looks really cool, sounds really cool, and is from maybe another world, but because meeting them, crossing paths with them, helping them, took me and my friends, who were all on our way to the Leagues of Ivy, or, something similar. And we're just finishing high school, and we each had a path laid in front of us towards, what people are told they need to achieve in order to feel great and okay. And it's not just our parents, in our case, so they encouraged us. It was something internal, something in our society, in our world. Not something that's wrong, per se, really, but something we had bought into, and we thought it would lead us where we were supposed to go. But this adventure changed our paths from those paths to high achievements to something different. And that's why I'm telling this story. But it is quite an adventure. It started with us, I'd lost a scholarship, and I was down about that, because I thought, well, I'm supposed to get this scholarship and go to this really hard school to get into, and I'm going to have to find a different way to get there, because that's where I'm supposed to be. And suddenly, when we were wondering about that, Boyd came along. Boyd said, actually, I got a way to make some money. And it's not really doing anything wrong, but we got to go into this old mall that's been closed down. And there's a large supply of Julius J. Juice concentrate, a concentrate for a flavored drink that you couldn't get the concentrate anymore. And Boyd said that this stuff had been discarded, not because it went bad, because it was in cans and it could last for a very, very long time, just because of the changing the businesses and the closing the businesses, that this was free for the taking. Boyd was the only one that knew about it, and Boyd was actually able to sell and had previously sold it on what would become the internet. This was back when it was just bulletin boards, and I don't know, I think I always say it was alt.juice.fan.juliusjjuice or something, but people say that's not true, Wide. But I say that's just how I remember it, eh? We headed into the mall to get this Julius J. Juice concentrate and bring it out of there and sell it and help pay for my trip to school. And Boyd would obviously keep the largest cut, but and then we found out that this mall was something different. There was something happening there, something otherworldly. Basically, the short version is workers were appearing and disappearing who needed our help. When we helped a mall worker at a store, we would find a friend from an autumnal movie who needed our help. At first, we thought it was immersive theater or something like that you'd go to nowadays. But then we realized it was real. We also realized and found out that the mall one day in the mall equaled 1 hour in the world outside of the mall. So time was running at a different pace. So no one would miss us as we helped days pass by. We found that the mall had magical properties, but we'd also find out that, all the food places for us to eat and drink would be stocked, and there was also a person that couldn't be seen doing all that, making sure we were fed and had stuff to drink. And then we found out we had somebody guiding us, the crispy Commander Crunch, breakfast time, famous cereal mascot, as a sentient real being was there. And he was kind of guiding us, or they were guiding us. Each time we helped one of these autumnal figures from the films, so their movies would play in the multiplex. They would come out of the movie. They would need our help, and they would need our help to get back in the movie with something changed, mainly their behavior or what they were looking to achieve, so that they wouldn't get in trouble like they do in all the movies, where there's, in the movies, they're not the heroes, right? They're the main focus in the movie. The hero is a lot of times a secondary character or a set of characters who teaches them a lesson, and that lesson's never good for the autumnal figure. So our job was to kind of change history only in films and get them back in the movie. And when we did, what would happen is the movie would become a cereal commercial, and they would become a cereal mascot similar to a Commander Crisp, or the Crispy Commander. And so we had, the Count of Chocolate, Mommy. We still had yet to help the person who couldn't be seen. So we're meeting these characters from the films, helping them, getting them back into their films so that the movie wouldn't turn out non-positive for them. And then they would become serial things. But a couple of things had happened recently. We met the person who couldn't be seen, and after seeing their movie, Josie had kind of gone into the movie to kind of see what it was like to be them, or kind of in outrage because the person who couldn't be seen was so poorly behaved. Then we met the person who couldn't be seen, and they said they wanted to change, but we weren't so sure they actually wanted to change. They also kind of seemed to be suspicious of the Crispy Commander who was in charge of them. And obviously having a person who couldn't be seen working for you has its advantages, right? As we would learn later on. But we kind of went back and forth because we said, of all the autumnal figures, you're the most poorly behaved. Because you're constantly choosing it with clear mind. I mean, we didn't say that directly, but it was hard. They were a hard person to like, especially after seeing their movie, or to believe they could change. But they said they had helped us in the mall, so we brought them to the bookstore and assigned them to read a bunch of books, wondering, okay, because they said they wanted to change, and they also said they didn't want to become a cereal mascot. So we said, okay, we'll read all these books, some about growth, some about, change, and we just needed to buy some time because we didn't know what to do, right? So then we headed back, and we headed back to the multiplex, and there's been a theater that's been locked where a movie's playing. We can't figure out what movie it is. But then we decided to go into the projection booth of the person who couldn't be seen's movie and kind of get a sense of what was happening in the projection booth. Who starts these movies? How much magic is there? And the projector was running, right? Because the movie's always on a loop. And it was clear there's some sort of magic. When you see it in a film, it's like you could just look at something and you could tell something magical or mystical's happening. It was pretty apparent that the projector had something magical or mystical happening with it. So we were kind of trying to assess what to do. Should we stop the movie? Should we go back and work with the person who couldn't be seen? And then we found these love letters, and we started reading these love letters and love poems. They were from the Crispy Commander to what turned out to be a real human person. The Crispy Commander had fallen in love with her when they tried to do a new marketing campaign for a former version of the Crispy Commander cereal called Frunchies. Just Frunchies, like, because they'd gotten rid of the Crispy Commander. And she was like a grad student, I guess, in the first commercial, and it was like, don't you remember how good it was to eat Frunchies? Maybe you could bring, a little bit of Frunchies back into your adult life. So a campaign to appeal to young adults with Frunchies cereal, which I think stands for Fruit Crunchies. It's a pretty tasty cereal. I mean, probably the wrong time to bring it up, but I do prefer it to Commander Crisp. So I could understand. But the Commander Crisp at first had a kind of childish view, not of love, but of having a crush. We're not even sure if initially he realized it was a commercial. But also, apparently, Commander Crisp comes from a cereal realm. Someone brought him here because he was being retired, because they said, nobody eats your cereal anymore. Frunchies is going to be our main brand. No more Commander Crisp with Frunchies and the Frunchies. But Commander Crisp had kind of thought he was in love with this actress. And at some point, he got brought here and offered this opportunity. There's something hazy about it, but it's also like communicating with a middle schooler, which we had not realized before, because Commander Crisp kind of presents himself as a authority figure. But reading the love poems and the love letters, and then Commander Crisp told us, yeah, at first I was an actress, but then I realized it was a real person, and I love her, and I've been coaching her in acting from afar by letter. Now, this is a time when doing this kind of stuff by letter wasn't that out of the ordinary, because you could only do it by a phone call. Wait a second. We didn't even think about phone calls. Okay, that's something to think about. I mean, I'm talking as a character in the story, but we hadn't gotten to that point yet. But wait, did we ever? But anyway, the part we weren't happy with was that the Commander Crisp had invited her to come for an acting camp to the Multiplex, an immersive acting camp, which was a believable story, because that's what we had thought, not an acting camp, but we thought we were in an immersive theater experience. And he's going to bring this real woman to the mall. And he's a cereal mascot, right? And we said, this plan doesn't make any sense. But Crispy Commander said, okay, well, you could either help me, or, I could keep running more movies or something like that. And then, you could not help me. You won't get any money to go to university. And maybe, the person who couldn't be seen or somebody else will just start, showing up at your house and borrowing your bicycles without permission and not bringing them back and that kind of thing. So we were kind of stuck. What are we going to do, right? It's quite the situation to be in. And so that's where we left off, right? And go from here with our story. So we started to talk things over, right? What are we going to do about this? How are we going to handle this? And we told the Crispy Commander, okay, where do we start? And the Crispy Commander said, start with, first of all, I haven't seen the person who couldn't be seen in a while. Where did you I know you were meeting with him. And we said, oh, yeah, he was going to get some other stuff ready. I think he did. It was confusing because we didn't know about this. We kind of made up a fib, He was going to work with the getting stuff ready for something camp, but we didn't. I don't know. It didn't make any sense to us. I think he was finding acting books, and acting. And then Christmas said, oh, good. So the bookstore. Okay, go get the invisible the person who couldn't be seen. and then, start decorating, like put stuff up on one section, so it looks like you're welcoming, he has all the layouts and stuff. And he also closed everything off by the way, he should have already closed off everything. So I hope you don't think like you're going to be dishonest with me, because now, he's been checking every in and out, and although there's only one in and out, and that's where we're going to set up a welcoming thing, but you won't do that part. But decorate the food court, and you're going to all, maybe start to come up with stories, because don't worry. I'll be paying attention, so you're going to be acting students, and I'm going to do the acting coaching over the PA system for the mall. Because don't worry, I got my end figured out. I mean, we were like, what the heck is going on? But we were like, okay, we'll do it. Of course, we just want peace. And even the Chris Meanders, like, what harm can it be? Like it was a bit like all those stories, like I'm going to be the best coach in the world, and I really am good at acting. It's one of the things I've done. I guess I didn't realize that, like, this is going to work out just fine, and I'm going to be the best coach ever, and it's going to end. This is going to end wonderfully. And we were like, oh boy. And I mean, I guess we had accepted that but we had seen a lot, like that a serial mascot could be real. This isn't like a movie, It's like, we had been led to the point slowly where we could say, okay, time has changed. There's a walking around serial mascot. There's something called the transverse plane where universe intersect. There's a serial universe. There's an autumnal figure universe. Somehow there's a magical movie, but I don't think any of us were going to, maybe Franny, or Count to Chocolate. It wasn't like any of us were like looking to spend any time with that. We knew the serial Crispy Commander was real, right? But, I don't know. So, we said, okay, we're going to get to work. But meanwhile, we're like, we're going to have to think of a plan to do this. So we headed back to the bookstore, and believe it or not, the person who couldn't be seen was there still reading. And they said that they're very, they were very studious. I guess they were scientists, right? They were very excited to test out what they had learned in all these books we had given them to read. And we said, well, you got to get a bunch of acting books together. And you're really here doing acting research if the Crispy Commander comes. Did you really close all the exits and ways to get in, even the way, Julie? Yep. And I don't have access anymore. Crispy Commander's the only one that has access. Okay, so we're going to have to set up this fake camp. We just want to know, if I guess we didn't think that the Crispy Commander was listening in the whole time, but we were kind of like talking quietly enough, because this was a different time, right? You'd have to be in an event really listening. But we said, but we're gonna we're gonna try to trust you. Can we get this straight again? So you want to go back to your world, and not become a serial mascot, right? And they said, yeah. And I know the person who couldn't be seen knew what was happening, right? That we were helping these autumnal figures change so their movies wouldn't end in a non-positive way. but that the only way it could end in if it ended in a non-positive way, that somehow they become a cereal mascot. And the the person who couldn't be seen said, I don't want that, right? Like, that's not what I want for me. And we said, okay, well, we'll help you try to achieve that. But what's your second thing? Like, or still don't understand, why you doing all this, other than wanting to be good and change, and he said, well, the Crispy Commander did say, like, if I don't help, the film could be, put up, stuck, like the film, like the film could melt. My film could melt. And if my film melts, then that's like, that means that's like a version of going, crossing over the Rainbow Bridge. A lot of crossing over the Rainbow Bridge here. So the Crispy Commander basically said, you could try to change. You could go over the Rainbow Bridge. You could try to change and work with me. See if that works. If that doesn't work, you could have, eventually maybe you'll have free reign. Like, and I'll let you wander this world. And maybe I could keep your movie running. And we could find a way for the Crispy Commander. I don't think has figured this part out yet, but that I could go in and out of that movie and your world, and I'd have free reign. But I don't trust it to there's something about the Crispy Commander, and we said, that the Crispy Commander's like childish, and or not a child, like and the person who can be seen nodded. And they said, well, what do you need me to do? And we said, just keep at it. Get the acting books together. Start to do whatever the Crispy Commander tells you. And maybe, there's going to be times we're going to need a little distraction, right? Also, we don't know. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do. And then the person who's going to be seen is like, well, why would you do anything? We said, well, we got to do something. Like, this is like, we can't bring somebody else into this situation, right? Even if we just lock the doors and she goes home. Like, is this all set up? And the invisible person they said, yeah. I got a limo booked. We got plane tickets bought. And there's something about this that's just not adding up, though. Are you being fully honest with us? And the person who can be seen said, yeah. I mean, I'll tell. That's what I've done. I called and made the reservations. I called and did that. And we said, wait a second, the phone calls. Is a Crispy Commander been calling anybody? And the person who can be seen says, as a matter of fact, yes, and the phone has rang too. And we said, okay. And we said, where? And he said, in the main office. And so, okay, that's where the PA system must be. So, oh boy, maybe he's even watching or listening too. Oh, great. We'll just have to do what we do here. But you get all the acting stuff ready, and we're gonna head out, and we're gonna start We're gonna go, I guess, get some crafts and decorate the food court. I take it you'll do all the cooking and stuff still, and the person who couldn't be seen, I'll get this stuff ready. And I'm a chemist, so I'm also a great baker and cook, and I'll start getting everything ready for that. And right as we kind of agreed, the Crispy Commander strolled in and said, hey, just checking up. And the Crispy Commander was very chipper and started laughing hysterically at the person who couldn't be seen because they were covered in tea and they had a sign on their back. And they laughed at them and said, you better get cleaned up because like, you're going to need to be invisible when she comes. All right. And then the person can be seen say, yeah, here's the books. I'm going to go, they're going to go to the food court. I'm going to go to the food court. They're going to go to the whatever, get stuff. I'm going to start getting everything ready. Get food ready and all that stuff. And the Christmas commander said, okay, I'll check out these books, and get to work, everybody. So we headed and we went to the craft shop, and there's like a party supply store where the craft shop didn't work. So then we went to the party supply store and we started blowing up balloons. And then we realized, okay, well, if we blow up enough balloons, like, we can talk while we're blowing up the balloons, because maybe the Crispy Commander heard all that. But Crispy Commander's still very confident. So the Crispy Commander thinks all the bases are covered. So maybe that's a good thing. We didn't really have a plan anyway. So we started blowing up balloons and stuff, and then we realized, like, okay, what if we use a person who couldn't be seen? And they said, what do you mean? And they said, okay, so if the Crispy Commander's watching things either by vents or by camera, these cameras, like, are not going to have, like, the Crispy Commander might be able to listen and see, but not clearly. And we said, I don't understand. And then they said, like, trick or treat, like, the invisible person could trick or treat as an actress. We said, oh, okay. We'd have to figure out what she looks like. And we said, okay, yeah, that's problem one we got to solve. But we could, okay, so we could do that. But he's only seen her in commercials anyway. So we just got to figure out that part. And then we were like, wait a second, it's all in the love poems and everything. And then we were laughing about the descriptions, and there was even drawings. So we said, yeah, that'll work. We'll use the descriptions in the drawings. And, but that's like only one part. That's not a plan, actually. So how are we going to let her know and stop that part, right? And what are we going to do about that? And so we got all the balloons figured out, and then we said, let's just decorate the food court with the balloons and the signs. Welcome to, like, interactive acting camp, the adventures, stuff like that. The Crispy Commander had it all written out too for us. So we got to work in that in the food court. And as we were doing that, we hoped a plan would slowly formulate in our minds. All right, but this is wide. Sorry, I got a little interrupted there, but I guess when I was last left off telling this tale, we didn't have a plan, right? And we were getting the food court decorated and kind of talking to each other, idle chatter, I guess. And then we heard the voice of the man who couldn't be seen because he had cleaned up and he was not seeable again. But he was also whispering to us, it's almost time. We're going to have to do you have a plan? And I don't know, it's a little bit hazy, but when you don't have a plan, that's not something you really remember, right? But at some point, pieces of the plan started to come together. Because we were trying to get more information from the person who couldn't be seen. And I'm pretty sure it was Boyd and Wyatt. They were talking about the projector a lot. And the idea that if the film was got stuck in the projector and melted or whatever on purpose by a Crispy Commander, that So we were kind of saying like to the invisible person, but couldn't be seen. So that would mean you'd be gone and your world would be gone, huh? And I said, forever. And I said, man, that's heavy stuff. They said, why don't we just stop the movie from playing and take the film out then? And we could get you back in the movie first and then stop your movie from playing. You didn't think to try that at all? And if we take the film, like you'll be back in your movie, maybe you'll be a different person, maybe you won't. But if we take the film out of the projector and hide it, Crispy Commander can't do anything to it. And I mean, it's just a theory, but you would be back in your world and you would become a serial icon. And you'd be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that would work. And the person who couldn't be seen said, oh yeah, that sounds reasonable. That sounds like a good plan. And we say, of course, we'd need your help to get to that point. We have one piece of the idea, which is you pretending to be her, but how are we going to keep her out? And he said, what do you mean? We said, I thought we went over that. Go to the costume shop and get once we know like what color hair she has and what length of hair, you'll pretend to be her, right? Just because the cameras aren't that good. The cameras are not going to be in color. And she could walk around with us. And he said, okay. But that's the only part of the plan we came up with. So we got pause in your movie. And again, we were talking low voices and a lot of crinkling of paper, which we thought would cover up our voices. And since we were working on these signs, we figured maybe we like a welcome, to acting camp sign out front where she was going to get the thing. And then we said, okay, can we figure out a way? So she's arriving by limo, right? You arranged all that. The person who couldn't be seen said, yeah, I arranged all that. So limousine will take her. And we said, okay, can you arrange for either the limo to wait or to go around, maybe to drive away, but then to come back like right away, or have another limousine pick her right back up, because we don't want her to come in. And she'll tell the limo driver, they'll hopefully strike up a conversation about this idea. And man, but then, so we're trying to think, and then we said the love letters, we'll just send her a letter with everything in it. And like, we'll make 2 sets of letters too, because Crispy Commanders. So we'll each write her a welcoming letter on one piece of paper. We'll show those to the Crispy Commander. Like, welcome to acting camp. I'm Josie. I'm Wyatt. I'm Boyd. They call me the Corncob Kid. Something about, I've been at this acting school, acting camp, whatever, for this long. Because we got to remember, we're not dealing with some sort of serial. We're dealing with a children's serial icon, not some sort of serial genius. So we just got to figure this out. Okay, so we'll write her letters, and then you'll give her you'll leave the letters, but maybe give her the letters before she comes in. We can't do that. What's the plan when she comes in? And then the person who couldn't be seen said, she's going to come in. There's a red carpet. She'll follow the red carpet. The red carpet's going to lead down one of the hallways here, which I'll unlock, and it'll look like they're magically opening for her. And then we said, well, why can't you just give us the keys now? And he said, no, the Crispy Commander's going to be in the vents, Crispy Commander planned for that. Lowering the key down, I'll use the key, and then the crisp on a string. We said, bummer. So we said, so then the back hallway will lead through those that service hallway. It comes right out here. There's red carpet on the other side of that service hallway. We said, okay, so yeah, what if you put the letters? Yeah, I think Crispy Commander will do that. Like, we'll present Crispy Commander with the idea. Like, let's start writing these letters, right? So we kept decorating. The person who couldn't be seen went and got costume stuff secretly, or visited the costume shop secretly and kind of moved some stuff around. Obviously couldn't be walking around with that stuff. And then went to the Sailing the Seas of stationery, got us some stationery, brought it back, friendship stationery. And we started writing letters. One set of letters, welcome to acting camp. The other set of letters, hey, this is not what it seems, and be aware. And then we said, here's what you do. You're going to stash one set of letters under the red carpet for when she goes through one of the door, like stash the other letters under the red carpet, and then after she reads the first set of letters, when she goes from the entrance into the first service hallway, so you'll unlock those doors, like you'll still have the key. She'll read the letters. You just whisper to her, like, read those letters or look under the carpet, and she'll read the letters. She'll want to go. You could still unlock the door, or maybe the door will still be open because you could be keep the door holding it open. Crispy Commander won't be able to appear anyway. She'll read the letters. She'll go right back out the door. You'll have set something up with the limo. Okay, great. And she'll be gone. So that was our plan. It seemed like, okay, we'll have part of the plan solved. I guess then we wouldn't need, because then, like, I guess we wouldn't need you to be undercover pretending to be her in this case. I think this plan's going to work great. So we decided on that plan, and that it seemed to be a reasonable plan. So we wrote the first set of letters, and we wrote the second set of letters underneath, folded them up, put them in our waistbands, and then took the second set of letters, didn't seal them, obviously. Let Crispy Commander read them. Crispy Commander was very pleased because it was like exactly what Crispy Commander, do you want to be, we could make boondoggles together, and, maybe like learn Meisner together. We're all going to be a cohort. I can't wait. Acting for, who's your favorite actor, that kind of stuff. And we knew a lot of even though she was a little bit older than us, assuming, we knew all the same lingo, right? In some sense, if she was a grad student or post-grad student, we're kind of more, knowing what's going on than she was. But I'll tell you, with all these plans, things never go as you think they do. And, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but basically what happened was the day came, and the letters were hid. The costumes were hid, or the costume for the person who couldn't be seen was hid. She arrived, I guess, because it's kind of anticlimactic. So even in my story, I guess it can't make it climactic because, well, I play a big part in this, and I just want to get to it because I'm not proud of it. But it's kind of a key part of this part of the story, and a key part of our story as a whole. Because what happened was she got there. She read the first set of letters and seemed excited. And the limo left, but it was supposed to keep pulling around every few minutes because we figured the Crispy Commander was going to have to hold the key so the Crispy Commander wouldn't see the limo return. She read the letters. She had a snack. She signed some guest book, and we had to decorate that thing. Not that important. And then she followed the red carpet. Then the doors magically opened when she got there. And this was a time of automatic doors, but not these kind of doors, storage hallway doors or service access hallway doors. But they opened onto another red carpet and they held open. But as she crossed the threshold, something whispered in her ear, look under the carpet. And then, now this was an anticipatory moment for us because she read the letters, but we could hear her because we were right on, we were down the hallway on the other side of the doors and she was reading them aloud. And, the Crispy Commander, while we couldn't hear the Crispy Commander at that point, we could sense the Crispy Commander breathing and watching and not being happy, right? But also kind of being stuck in the vent holding the key to lock that door and then unlock the next door, which wasn't a great plan, right? Because now we kind of had the Crispy Commander where we wanted him. But she read the letters, so she had read letters from both of us, from all of us welcoming her, and then these letters warning her. And at first she was like a little bit quiet and like made some noises like she was on a more alert. But then she started to really get excited, like, okay, like talking about method and immersion and an immersive, this is an immersive experience, all of that. And now, meanwhile, we're on the other side of the door wondering what to do. And this all happened very quickly, but we're like, what are we going to do? We can't let her cross over this. One set of doors is open. Oh, we'd also talk to the person who couldn't be seen as about fumbling. So I don't know how you fumble when you're invisible, but we were hoping that person who couldn't be seen was fumbling at some point. Instead of like seeming like they were working with us, like that they were somehow fooled too. But she was going to get ready. She was coming towards the other doors, right? But they were still locked, and she pushed on them, and they didn't open yet. And meanwhile, and in a millisecond of time, we were going back and forth with each other. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? It was Boyd, because he is experienced as the corncob kid, who pointed at the three of us with a look, and he said, B-U-LLY. And we were like, what? And then, I mean, we were talking, but my memory said, you guys, you're a clique, and you're an exclusionary clique, and I've had a lot of experience with that, and that's how I went from corncob kid to the corncob kid. We covered it, right? And we were like, what do you mean? Well, he's like, talk about her before she comes through the doors. She's going to be listening as she's waiting for the doors to open. But we were kind of stuck. And I had held on to this secret for so long that I'm going to tell you that I had to tell my friends. And I didn't really know anything about acting other than what I saw on TV. But everybody's like, I don't know how to do it. And I said, okay, I'm going to tell you guys something, and you're going to all be very upset and unpleased with me. We could talk about it another time, but I want you to channel your immediate feelings and talk to her as if you were talking to me. Or talk to me, but pretend you're talk to her, but pretend you're talking to me. And they were like, what? And I said, you guys didn't know this, but, or maybe you found out and you're just not telling me, but, the reason I lost the scholarship was because of shoplifting, and, not just once, but over and over again. And I got a second chance, and I blew the second chance. And they said, yeah, we knew. We just, we knew you were talking to the right people to get help, and we're proud of you, but this isn't really the best time to talk about it. And I had one more, whatever, I was going to lose. Anyway, it was this was an outside scholarship with a rule about it, but I hadn't lost my entrance into the school. But what happened that I didn't tell you guys is that I didn't just shoplift from stores. I stole from all of you. And they're like, and then I pointed out like these things that meant so much to each one of them. For Josie, it was this pendant from her Nana, and she thought she lost it, and she got in a lot of discipline, and she really thought she lost it. For Santa, it was this, and the sound like this a mechanical calculator thing. I don't even know what it was. Some sort of science, like math science thing that had been passed on from his grandfather to his father to him. I don't know. I don't know. Some sort of some science math device, but not digital, handcrafted. And even for Boyd, like, be honest, I took money from Boyd, and I said, and I didn't even take it to keep it. I like the two items I stole from you both, I threw them away. And I didn't just throw them away, like, I ruined them first, and I don't even know why I did it. It was, I don't even, but I didn't have to say anymore because their faces showed such a range of intense emotion that they already started talking right at the door and saying things in a projection voice and about her and her acting and the ads they had seen her in and what a joke it was, and how could someone expect to compete with them. They channeled all that energy instantly through that door, and Boyd did too, even though it's just money that Boyd probably needed too. And I channeled my feelings. Mine were a little bit more baffled, but you need every kind of voice there, because I still didn't know why I did it. And, later on I would figure out, I learned the tools I needed, but at this time, this had become a tool we needed, because on the other side of the door, we heard the crispy commander saying, please proceed through the hallway, and also close that other door, get the door, so things were coming apart at the seams there. The spell was kind of broken about the acting camp, and she kind of threw down letters on the floor, the actress, and she just, and she reacted in the moment, which was good, because she didn't think it through, like, oh, maybe because the things my friends were saying that I was saying were based, it was the best acting we would ever do in our lives, the only acting we would ever do, because we weren't acting. We're channeling or something. We're in the moment, and it was an unpleasant moment. And so she stormed right back out, right to the front door. And right out the front door as the limo pulled back up, I'm assuming her eyes were watered, and she got in that limo and it went off. And we had done our job, but at what cost in the moment? And not while I kind of need to take a break after kind of, recording this too. To know that I just didn't take from my friends. I took and destroyed for my friends. And with an intent buried, if you've ever been in it, like everybody had an opinion, the adults in my life, as they found out about this stuff, or the people in my life, like, well, were you angry when you did this? No. Were you sad when you did this? No. I don't know. I don't think so. In fact, I know that wasn't the case even now telling you it. It was, it felt good, and not good being bad. It felt good because, there was some sort of miscommunication going on. So, yeah, I'm going to take a break at this part of the story, but the story kind of continued on from here because we wouldn't get a break. But at least the actress got a break, and she broke for home in that limousine. So we'll take a pause here, and good night, everybody.
Hey, everybody, this is Scoots here. This is just your tuck-in good night. I want to thank everybody who supported the show recently on Sleep With Me Plus. We could not make the show, particularly currently, without all our subscribers. Milos, Joshua, Lars, thanks, and good night. Maxine, Kim, Caroline, thank you, thanks, and good night. Des, Casey, Lori, thank you, thanks, and good night. Nathan, Philip, and Gabriella, thank you, thanks, and good night. Laurel, Samantha, and Medina, thank you, thanks, and good night. Emily, Lauren, and Barbara, thanks, and good night. Heidi, Sarah, and Mickey, thanks, and good night. Margaret, B, and Lane, thanks, and good night. And Tabitha, Brandon, and Amy, thanks, and good night. Thanks for supporting the show. We got a lot of cool stuff going on Sleep With Me Plus. When I'm recording this, we're just wrapping up subscriber summer, but we got Frankie going until we finish the book. Hopefully, maybe it'll be in 2025. Is that what next year is? This year, 2024? And we had a ton of releases, and we'll be doing a subscriber winner here in the holiday season as well. So, yeah, we got some cool stuff coming and couldn't do it without all of you. So thanks so much and good night.